Welcome to Board Game Binge, the place where we bring you bite-sized, bingeable board game content from across the industry. I'm your host, James Staley, and in this episode, we're chatting with Konstantinos Manos from Vesuvius Media, an indie game development company that specializes in tactile dexterity board games like Catapult Kingdoms. Their current pirate-fueled game, To Glory, is currently on Kickstarter. Konstantinos, welcome to the binge. How you doing?
Hi, James. I'm happy to be here.
Oh man, we had some crazy technical difficulties getting into this one, my friend, but we made it. We
You
made it to
managed to
shore.
punch through. It is true.
How
Well
you
done.
doing? So we don't know each other at all.
No.
This is the first we've met. I didn't even get a chance to do kind of a pre-chat with you just because, again, we had some issues there technically, so we're rushing to kind of make sure we got this out on time. So let me just start off with, I want to learn a little bit about you. I know you guys at Catapult Kingdoms. I
No.
know that you guys specialize in dexterity type games, which are the kind of games I loved growing up on when I was a kid. And definitely, I think there's some inspiration across your portfolio from the 80s and from the 70s when we were kids. So I want to get into that. But let's start off. So you're based in Halifax, right?
Yes, Halifax, Canada. Actually, I'm originally from Greece.
Okay.
My wife is from Dartmouth. Here in Dartmouth is a city around Halifax,
Yeah.
and we moved here like 8 years ago. Right? Nine. I lost it with the pandemic. We lost a couple of years. That was like a little bit of something. So yes, we initially started as a company, as a as a group of friends doing
Uh-huh.
mobile and browser games, digital games back
Okay.
then, like in 2004. We started trying to do games. It took us 6, 7 years to figure out that it's way harder than we thought of. And then at around 2010, we switched to board games.
Okay.
Mainly as we always wanted to do games. We have been backers for cannot remember since when. We are board gamers, we're RPG, like everything geeky. We were doing it back in the days. So at some point we said we would love to do it ourselves. We had already invested a lot of money in art, in stories, in building worlds. And we said, what can we do with all that? And we decided to launch our first board game. Back then it was called Centauri Saga. It was a sci-fi legacy type co-op 4X type of game that
Okay. Yeah.
doesn't last 15 days like what what's the I don't know, I'm stuck. But yes, but it was like an hour and a half game time, uh, 10 scenarios, and it was really fun. That was what launched our company. From then on, we just got hooked. We have done, we have successfully delivered 17 campaigns so far.
Mm.
To Glory is our 18th. In the process of all those games, we are a company that pretty much touches a little bit of everything. But we like more casual board game
Sure.
night games rather than 5, 6 hour games long. So in the process, we have done 4 dexterity games. Catapult Kingdoms that you mentioned is our biggest success so far. It's
Mm.
the only game of ours that has hit mass distribution. We won the Game of the Year 2021 award from
Nice.
the Australian Toy Association. It has been translated in 27 countries, and hopefully we're gonna see it in retail. Not the Kickstarter edition, but the basic game is gonna be around in stores, hopefully for years to come. We also had another dexterity game which was Monstrosity. It's a dice game inspired by a really cool mechanism Artifia Games has done for and one of their projects. It was called the game. Cool Mini
Hmm.
picked it up afterwards. And now we're back with To Glory. Why dexterity? Well, now I have 7 and a 12-year-old,
No. Okay.
which
Gotcha.
back in the days was like 4 or 5. And I was always looking for, we are pretty much in the same uh, situation with the rest of the people that we're working with.
Yeah.
And we're looking for games to play with our kids without holding back. We can
Yeah.
play everything, but usually you have to dumb it down, try to play it. And I wanted, and then dexterity came into the question. First of all, most of our these games do not have any text. You don't have to read. You don't have to do anything. So you 5-year-old, 4-year-old, 30-year-old, you don't have to read, so you're good to go. Then because it's dexterity, I don't have to hold back. Like I can literally lose in the catapult feud game from my 5-year-old,
Yeah.
and I play full force, but he's gonna beat me down. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking to bring this into the mix, and we managed to do it with catapult.
Yeah.
And I think that we're gonna do it also with to glory. Like it's gonna be a game that you're gonna see a
What
lot.
what
I think.
brought you to Canada? So I'm in Canada as well, and
Yeah.
I remember when we first started talking. I was like, "Whoa, that's not a East Coast accent."
No, it's not.
Usually, Newfoundland, you have a very different accent than
Yep.
a Greek accent. So, what brought you to Canada from Greece?
Well, they have a really good recruiting team here, I will say. NSBI, which is the Nova Scotia Business something in or something. I don't know exactly what the acronym is for. We were here as a vacation back in August 2000. I don't remember when. It was
Yeah.
11, 12, 13, something like that. And we were approached by a person from the government that was his job was to attract companies for overseas and show them what they could do for us here.
Hmm.
He took us by hand for 3 days, showing us the industry, showing us what infrastructure there is to help, and I was blown away. Like literally, like me and my wife said, like, "What?" And at that point, the kid was three and a
Hmm.
half. So we said, "Look, we have 2 years before he needs to go to school." So, and we had one kid back then. Now we have to.
Yeah.
So we either do it now. If we fail, we know how to fall back,
Hmm.
or at least uh, we do not like to live our lives having a huge what if above our heads. So that's our mentality. It's better to try and fail rather than saying, and if I have done it. So we said no. On the way back, we said, let's do it. We pretty much packed everything in a month,
Hmm.
left ourselves with 6 bags. And now you understand that we do have a support because she's from here. So we at least have family here to begin with. We don't pack and go blindly someplace. And both our jobs were online. So I have a PhD in computer science. So I'm mainly a software engineer. I deal with websites, mobile applications stuff. If I have internet, I work, be it in Alaska, be it in the moon, be it in Canada, or be it in Greece.
Yeah.
So for us, it was an easy, it was just about the location. So we said, let's go give it a try. And I'm not going back.
That's
I'm
awesome.
done. Like as soon as I step foot here, and the Maritimes have, yeah, I love it. I love it here. I love the lifestyle. I love the rhythm. I love everything. The people.
Even the
People.
winters.
Yes, I have no problem with that.
Yeah, you get slammed pretty hard on the east coast of Canada in the winter times for sure.
the
Now you had
first
meant,
winter, the first winter was
yeah.
the winter.
Uh,
Yeah, I remember my father-in-law saying, like, we have never had a winter like that. And I was saying, like, this is the only thing I know from Canada. I was shoveling, and until I reached the street, I was looking behind, there was around 27 days of snow. It was that winter, the great, has never happened again since the last decade that I've been here. But holy Delito, that was
Now
something.
you were saying that a bunch of your friends, a group, like a collection of you, have kind of formed this company. Can you talk to me a little bit about that? So
Yeah,
how does that work?
so even if you check on our website, you will see that we're pretty much 4 or 5 people. It
Hmm.
is me, my wife, my brother, and 2 friends. One of my best friends and one very cool friend that happened to join the company in the process with the board game knowledge. And that's how we started. Like it is, we have one storyteller, we have one technical guy, we have a PR girl, my wife, and we have a DM and a board game developer. That's pretty much it. And for 5, 6 years at the beginning, we were doing it part time.
Hmm.
We all had our jobs. I think like in the last 3 years is the time that we managed to at least three of us be full time on the company, and we're now dedicated on whatever the vision of the company is going through. But it was really tough, especially at the beginning. As we said before, like we started by running the campaign in Canadian dollars. We lost a lot of money at the
Hmm.
beginning because of the exchange rate. We had to put an investor into the company to keep it afloat. We still have lost control 30% of our company because of that, but we are still here and we're
Yeah.
growing. So We cannot whine about that. We realized really soon that designing and creating a game is but a fraction of the whole process, and we had to learn and teach ourselves so many different things, from manufacturing, from freighting, from shipping, or how we talk with backers, how we manage all the requests, how every single, how we write rule books. The first two games, the rule book was really bad.
Yeah.
And as soon as you set down that path, it's difficult to come back to the backers and persuade them that, look, no, now we learned. It took us a lot of time, a lot of effort. We lost a lot of money at the beginning.
Hmm.
But now we have reached the point where at least we're established in the industry. People know us. People can trust us. We're not like many companies. And I don't know if you noticed the news. We 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 respect our backers. Even
Yeah.
during the pandemic, we deliver on time.
Hmm.
We never asked for extra money for any reason. Okay,
Yeah.
or we never used the war, the inflation, the pandemic as an excuse to cover for our own
Maybe
mismanagement.
maybe that's the Canadian in you.
It's,
I don't know. No, all right. We're the
you
same
know what?
thing during our
It is the
campaigns.
bucket. Yes, it is
We
the
never
bucket in
missed.
me.
Yeah, we never missed one, and we had to eat a lot of costs
Yes.
during the container shortage issue, and we just ate it, right? And
I believe that that's the bucket in you, and that's the bucket in me.
yeah,
Like I really, we do not want to do to our backers what we the way people bigger companies have treated us. We do
hmm,
not want that. Like we were feeling crappy when this was happening. Why would
yeah,
I want to continue that? So I do my due diligence. Yes, there are things that can go wrong. Yes, there can be delays, but be crystal clear, be frank, and like speak the truth.
yeah,
Own your mistakes. If you make a mistake, own it. Don't try to put it under the rug or use. Like I see even companies today talking about pandemic, the war, and inflation. What
yeah,
does this have to do with anything? When you are coming back and you're asking $150 from each backer extra, what are you talking about?
yeah, yeah.
Where
I
is this?
know.
No, you mismanaged it. I'm with you, own it, let's move on. But that
It's
creates a
crazy, in this industry. It actually shocks me that no matter what industry you're in, there's always controversy.
yes,
There's always
there is.
like I was
And
watching TikTok and
but
I
it
saw,
affects, yes, it affects us, right?
yeah,
Because it affects the industry. Because at the end of the day, the backer loses trust to the
yeah,
process, loses trust to Kickstarter, not Kickstarter, crowdfunding, let's say. Like it is a process that some of us, we rely on it
yeah,
and we respect it, and we're here to walk it through. We understand, we respect every dollar the backer spends.
yeah.
But then you have some other people that are doing whatever, and then the bigger you are, the more fuss you create, and then the rest of it just follows. We're
So I
here to
want to
fight.
talk quickly about Catapult Kingdoms because this game, obviously there's some thematic similarities with, was it
Rifles and
crosses?
catapults, weapons and
Yeah, crossbows
warriors,
and
all
catapults.
fits.
When I was a
Yes.
kid, and ironically, my brother was asking me about this morning, and we are talking about games. He's like, not Adam, my design partner, but my other brother was saying, remember that game we used to play when we were kids, like where you're actually on the floor with that was so awesome, man. I wish I could buy the game. And I said, you can get a game very much like that right now. It's called
Yes.
Catapult. It's called Catapult Kingdoms. Like, well, I'm actually interviewing them this afternoon. This is crazy that we're talking about this, but that whole idea of getting down on the floor and playing a
Yes.
game with your kid, or kids getting down on the floor and playing games that are very tactile. I absolutely love that. What
Yep.
surprised me when I saw that campaign come out, being the small independent publisher that you are, like we're all small independent publishers, right? For many of us, this is kind of a side gig almost, right? And like the amount of 3D modeling and 3D printing and stuff like that, because I was following that campaign during development. It was really cool how you guys are sharing the development as you went along, and all like the little models of like the little soldiers that are on the wall and stuff like that. And I remember looking at this thinking, how are these guys going to afford this? Like, this has got to be crazy expensive to make. Like, you must have taken a
Was.
loss on that game, did you? Or
It was. The thing is that when you do 500,000 campaign, people
yeah,
believe you made a million. Now, the Catapult Kingdoms, the original campaign, because now the game is called Catapult Feud,
yeah,
has to
yeah.
do with some trademarking in
Of course, yeah,
Australia,
okay.
but yeah. Yeah, let's not go down that road
Yeah, yeah.
when we opened up in more countries. Now, the original campaign, we were lucky we didn't operate at a loss.
Wow.
Literally lucky because we mismanaged. It was the first campaign that did extremely well. I will give you an idea. You will see the price and you understand. The original campaign had for 60 US,
Yeah,
for Siege Artificer, you can see the three boxes behind me,
yeah,
Game Mat and Dice Ammo. And we were giving 50% off to retailers, and people were still whining about wanting more free stuff.
yeah,
These 5 items today in retail, they're 130 US.
yeah,
We're giving them for 60 in the first campaign.
yeah,
So, of course, yes, we didn't, it was the first campaign that blew up. In the first 48 hours, we did a quarter of a million. So we lost track of how many stretch goals, and we didn't calculate that, man, when you have 5,000 backers and you give a brick, you
yeah,
give 5,000 bricks for free. So you cannot have a step of $5,000 or $10,000 at that point because every single item you give, it's times 5,000
yeah.
times 6,000. How many? So yes, and that's you see that in the next campaign, the same bundle was at 90, $100, which was still less than the retail because you always get a bargain on our
Sure.
campaigns, whether it seems or not. People believe, oh, I'm going to get in retail. You will not get what we have on Kickstarter, on retail, no
Yeah,
matter how, even if the game becomes extremely successful, there are certain things we don't brand them Kickstarter exclusive because we don't like this FOMO, click it here now, get it.
yeah.
But whoever is actually a Kickstarter backer realizes that the Kickstarter edition, you will not see it. Unless you
Hmm.
find it on eBay tomorrow, you will not see it. And definitely not at that price.
Yeah,
So that's how it overgrew us, but it taught us on how to manage it. It pushed us to create even better tools. Like we have done 2,000 backers campaign, but the 5,500 backers campaign plus the late pledge, it's almost 65, 7,000.
hmm,
We needed new tools for management of replacements, new tools for management of communication. So we learned a lot from this campaign. And then from then on, now we have it down to to pretty much science
yeah.
everything.
It's a learning with everyone, but it does become very scientific, right? Like,
Yes,
you
right
know,
now we do. We build the tools to do exactly that. Like we are not using any pledge manager from the ones known out there. We're using Hive, which was developed with us at the same
mhm.
time. And this is a platform pretty much that computerizes our entire industry. Like I even handle my invoices through that system. I needed a system where I don't rely on you having some support emails in your mailbox. Then we have some on Kickstarter messages. Then some the social PR person has a Facebook messages or tweets or whatever. And then
Yeah,
I'm trying to figure out who talked to me, where and how to get a
yeah,
replacement of for one missing ball or one missing trooper from their box. And then because all of these things, because you're exposed in Kickstarter, right? It is social media. Everything is exposed out there. If you start making mistakes or you're missing things, the people that are disappointed are the most vocal. The people that got their game and are having fun,
yeah,
10,000 people, five of them are going to post something good about you. But if you have 10 people that don't get what they want, they're going to be all over posting. So you have to do better management on everything that situation that you have to deal and not lose anything. So we created a system that pretty much tracks everything. We can see everything with a click, and we know that we don't miss any ball, and we're on top of it. And we try to respond in everything in 24 hours, no matter what, weekends or anything.
yeah.
So we try to be on top to handle our community and respect them at least as much as they respect us by paying us, giving us their money, taking a risk with us, right?
No.
Because backing a campaign, it is a risk. We have to respect that.
So talk to me about To Glory. Where did this idea come from? Like, how did you guys come up with To Glory?
Because we saw that the extended games are so fun and the response we saw at the convention, like when we were at Spiel, at Gen Con, like having a booth full of kids playing and stuff. Okay, what's next? So at that point, we were already talking with the designer of the game uh, about he had some ideas about a more war game type mechanic, like it
Yep.
was a somewhere between war game and dexterity game and had various features. But at that point, we were already in the mood. We want a family game. Let's go. So at that point, we started working on his game with a different aspect. We
Hmm.
made the ships bigger. We made the board bigger. It already had a launching mechanism to launch cubes from one ship, attacking the Kraken, attacking the tower, trying to take down the pirates. And we just build up on it. And it became we call it a pick up and delivery dexterity game, which is pretty much what like you pick up map clue tokens, trying to find the treasure in other islands. But while you're walking around, you throw cannon volleys to everybody, to your opponents, to Krakens, to whatever happens around the game. The game lasts 20 minutes, which is exactly what we want. Like
Yeah.
we really want you to play in an hour, 2, 3 sessions, because whenever you have a game that there's only one winner, it's better to have more than one sessions. So you give a chance for everyone to have a win rather than to play an hour, 2 hours, have one winner and three sort of losers.
Well, I was
It's
just
not
trying to
fun.
show an overlay here, but I couldn't get it on my screen. So I apologize for those who just saw a black
Yeah,
screen. I'm going to describe what I'm seeing here because I mean, this looks super cool. So first of all, congratulations on your funding. So you guys are $53,000 on a $13,000 goal. So you have like 4 times your goal. Amazing.
yes.
586 backers. Still 9 days to go. So we know with the kind of reverse bell curve that's going to hook back up near the end. So I'm sure you guys are going to be very happy with where you land. You have this board that has these, I guess, hexagons or octagons, I guess, right? On it. And your ships are kind of moving. You have these three-dimensional yeah, he's going to show it too on the screen. You have these three-dimensional ships. I'm going to use words because you have people that actually listen to this podcast versus watch it.
Yes, so you have to see it to understand the scale of it.
Oh, that's
They are
huge.
huge, and
Yeah, yeah.
they have a catapult component. So you put your cubes here, you press like a seesaw mechanism, you throw, and then the cubes are
All right, let me
catapulted.
describe this because not
Yes,
everybody's watching. Some people are just listening, right? So
yes.
he's got this ship you basically assemble the ship, right? So it's got card
Yes,
pieces
this
as a
is
single
a
ship.
punch board that it's thick, durable, printed in both sides with linen finish
Yeah.
because it's punch board. People believe that it might deteriorate. We have a prototype that was played 4 days, 8 hours per day at Essen. We still have the same prototype that was DHL to Europe for reviewers, for photography. Then we had it at Gamma last week, and
Yeah.
the prototype is still going.
All right. So this thing is about the size of his hand. If you stretch your hand, that's about the size of the ship, and you have 4 of these ships with your game. You're moving these ships throughout the board, but then on each ship, you actually have a catapult.
Yes.
Where you're flinging. Is it cubes? What are you flinging at the other guy?
Yes, it's wooden cubes. You put
Wooden
3 wooden
cubes.
cubes, seesaw, bomb, and then you fire them. And all models have the same mechanic. Like the tower also has the catapult on it.
Oh, okay, you got the tower too.
The Kraken
cool. Yeah.
has also. Oh, sorry.
And the Kraken. Oh, and the Kraken hurls stuff at people too. Oh, that's
Yes, everything that you see on the board, here's things on the other players, and you get points by if you touch with your boulder, with your bullet, with your cannon volley, you get 1 point. If you manage to land, you get 2 because you are boarding.
Yeah.
And if you knock the captain down, you get 3 points.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes, it's a really fun game, really easy. The kids get hooked up. The grown-ups just yell like we have play tested in a couple of boardroom cafes, and you can imagine that I did it. It has like all these cool action, like memorable moments. Yes, I did that cool shot, that trick shot. So that's what we wanted. That's the excitement that we wanted, and a great price point because
are you collecting treasure? Like I see those coins on your page.
Yes.
Like, are you collecting treasure as you go,
the
right?
main game mechanic is that you have to go to an island, pick up a treasure map token. These are two-sided. From one side, they just show the island. On the other side, they tell you where you have to go to find the treasure. So the idea is that you have to go with your map to an island zone. You reveal your token. You find the treasure token. If you get 2 treasure chests, the end game is triggered, and then we calculate victory points. But while you're moving around the Black Sea, everybody's shooting at everybody.
That's awesome.
There is a really good balance. Actually, you can win the game even if you don't get the treasure chest. If you make it so that you hit everybody every round, you're making more points overall than the treasure chest that you're picking up.
This reminds me a little bit of Sid Meier's Pirates, right? The video game where you're trying to kind of anticipate where the person's going to be, right? So you can get lined up right to kind of fire at them,
the
right?
game does have this, like, there are some people, it has been funny, based on comments we have here, like, you can use your ship to block other people from walking because you cannot end up your movement adjacent to another ship. That's why the models are so big. You can also move the Kraken to block other people. So there is like a bumper type of mechanic
Yeah.
where you're moving around, where you can make it more difficult to the other people. And then some people are saying, "Oh, I don't want the bumper mechanic, but then I want ways to block the other opponent." But the bumper mechanic is a way to block the other opponent. Like that's part of the game, part of the fun. So depending on the number of players, you can get more of that effect, or you can even divide in teams. Let's say
Yeah.
the two of us versus the two of you. So somebody's blocking, somebody's attacking. There are so many cool things that you can do. If you see it as a toy, you just have fun. It's 20 minutes, figure it out. And we have seen that with catapults as well. People can make their own rules, and we have no problem with that. Like these are games that you put to have fun. I'm gonna
Yeah.
give you a set. Go create your own. Bring your own games in it. Combine it, right? It's all about fun.
Oh, super cool. And and just quickly, do the ships fit back in the box after
Yes,
you
assemble.
assemble them? Yeah.
Yes, and that's why the box is huge.
Yeah.
Actually, this is the biggest box we have done so far as from all of our games.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mainly because of that, because that's the only thing that could make the models not last. We figured it out with our first test is taking them apart and then putting them back together. Then they start becoming flimsy. So we said no, we have a bigger box. Everything fits assembled inside the box, and we're going to give you instructions on the rulebook on how to actually put them around. The box doesn't have a tray. It is printed inside with a nice sea background that looks cool. And
Yeah.
then you feel like you put them to rest there.
Oh, that's cool. So what's the next, like, where do you guys go from here? What's the next steps? Like, are
Uh,
you continuing on with this game? I'm sure you guys have got another one
we
coming. Is
have
it still
two more
dexterity based or
games.
where are you
No,
going?
no, we have two more games coming this year from Vesuvius Media. Now we're going into board game. We're going back to our roots. One is called Omerta. It is you're playing the family, one of the five families in New York, trying to control the territory in Manhattan, and it is really thematic. It has many historical references. It's a 3 to 5, mainly 3 to 5 players 2 hour game
Hmm.
with a lot of controversy, but there is a two-player also scenario, different scenarios. There is a two-player to learn how to play the area control, but there's a lot of bidding, a lot of backstabbing, a lot of death threatening. Like you can put a death contract for another family, go kill the godfather, go kill the street boss, build casinos and racketeering and everything that
Oh, that's
happens.
cool.
Yes, and then we have another game, hopefully at the end of the year or beginning of Q1 2024, where that's in collaboration with Chaosium, where we have a Call of Cthulhu game coming up. And we're going to announce that later on with more cool stuff about
Oh,
out there. These are both games that we have been working for about 3 years now, so we're really proud. But we just need them to be perfect before we launch them. So this is what we have.
so if
In
people want to follow you guys, how best do they do that? So obviously you can go to the
the,
Kickstarter and just
the
look
best way is
for,
Kickstarter. Yes,
uh,
Kickstarter, following us on Kickstarter or our Facebook or social media like Facebook and Twitter. We will always post and we always manage them.
yeah.
Kickstarter is the best way to know when we do a new launch.
Nice. I'll put it as a link in the show notes as well afterwards. So if people want to find your campaign page, they can find it quickly. Oh man, I can't wait to see how this thing turns out. I want to wish you guys all the best on this campaign. Still got 9 days to go. I'm very excited for you. We'll see where you land and all the best in this coming year, right?
Thank you very much, James. It was really happy to be here and talk to you about it.
Take care, my friend. Cheers. This has been an episode of the Board Game Binge podcast, hosted by James Staley, produced by James Staley and Mike Bruner, with original music by Nick Smith. If you would like to watch these interviews live, simply subscribe to our YouTube channel, Board Game Binge, and you'll get access to live interviews, giveaways, and interesting board game content from across the industry. I can't wait for you to join us. See you next time.